everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Chris Yi.
Have you ever wanted to own your own aquarium?
No, I don't actually ever want to.
You know, I didn't, and I got one, and I really loved everything about it except for my murderous rampage I went on by killing too many fish by accident. But there is something very soothing about an aquarium.
I guess. Yeah, it's bubbly, though. It kind of has that constant motor running noise.
And
I mean, if you're doing it right.
Moving, and they're not, I don't know, there's some cool things to it. Well, that's what this is about. Now, the theming of this is a little weird because it's sort of like, hey, it's the 50s on the front.
The age of Aquaria.
But also it doesn't have anything to do with that. Like, you're just building an aquarium made of fish.
It's so that you can have the dials. You're going to see the dials, folks. The dials.
Dials. Well, Chris is going to show us how to play. We'll be right back.
Here's Aquaria set up on the table. This is my individual player board area where I'm going to be playing cards out over here, adjusting these knobs here that can rotate to try to get bonuses depending on the color for the round, and then also building up my filter. This is going to be the central card offer where you can get normal cards into your hand so that you can later build them, or when you qualify for one of the 6 lionfish, these are special scoring cards for the end of the game. This is the encyclopedia track where you'll be keeping track of your oxygen so that you can pay for the fish that you need to come out on your board and to explore along these tracks as well, and victory points tracked or scored around the outside. And then lastly, the main board where we're going to be moving our dice to take actions. The action board keeps track of the 4 rounds of the game here. Players are going to take an action, get some bonuses, and then pip up their die to the next number. And once all players have done that, then going back to the first player, they will move again, take another action, pip it up. And once they have, all players have reached 4 actions in a turn, you'll move to end of round bonuses and scoring. You'll reset all the dice back to 1, and then you'll continue playing the second round, then the third and fourth in like fashion. Now, when you move to take an action, you have to move off of the action disc you are on, but you can move to any of them. However, if you move to one of the 2 adjacent ones on the side here, in addition to taking the action, you'll also get the bonus action as shown on the track here. And these bonus tracks are randomized at setup, so you won't get the same combinations of actions and bonuses. After you take that, you'll pip it up. Now, you can move to one that's further away, but you won't get that bonus. And the one in the middle is always accessible. So let's talk about what the 5 actions are. First off, players can draw more cards and get these fish food, these tokens that they'll need to feed their fish. Very simple. Next up, you can increase your oxygen track, which is shown over here on the side of the board. You'll need oxygen in order to pay for your fish. Now, all of these actions can be increased by spending pearls, 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4 pearls, and you can take the stronger action. So if I paid all of these, I could get 7 oxygen instead of simply 2. Over here is the action that allows you to play fish onto your player board. Over here is to move up on the encyclopedia track, and then lastly to move up the pet store track. When players get to play a fish out onto their board, they can choose any spot. They'll have to pay the oxygen as shown over here, so I'd move down my track 3 steps. These over here are going to be rewards I'll get, provided that I can provide the fish food required, a green and a blue in this case, for this at the end of the round. So you can place as many fish as you want out, and then you're trying to make sure you have enough food at the end of each of the 4 rounds of play. You'll gain any bonuses here, like the ability to draw cards, and then the hand symbol is going to be income, which will be done right before the feeding phase. This bonus over here is going to allow you to turn the dials on your board. Some of these cards require you to turn the dial that you are particularly in that row or column where you place the fish. So I might move this dial over here to blue, because at the end of this round, we're looking for bonuses being facing towards blue in order to get those. When you advance along the encyclopedia track, you will start from the starting location and move along any of the arrows that you want. You can move onto these small circles to get bonuses, or move onto these larger ones, which will give you one-time use tokens. If you don't spend those one-time use tokens, they'll be worth points at the end of the game. And then the space that you're sitting on, which is shown here, but also in the little tab on the side, if you activate it with one of these symbols over here, you'll get to gain that bonus depending on where your disc actively currently is. The first player to reach the top of the track will also gain bonus points, second, third, and so on. When moving up the pet store track, you will advance this up to 4 times, gain the bonus over here, including rotations and activating the space that you're on. If you pay the extra pearls, you can also get the bonuses as shown below them, including getting more advanced filters and other bonuses. The wool filters on the bottom of your player board will be continually added until you have filled them all up, at which point you'll activate all of these bonuses, the one pre-printed bonus, and any of these additional filters that you get. You'll then wipe all the wool filters off and then start developing that track again. Once the action phase here shown on the player aid is completed, you'll go through the remaining steps here. So next up, players will earn bonuses for every one of the dials that is facing the correct color as shown on the round marker. So in this case, with the blue bonuses, I would gain 1 oxygen on the oxygen track. I would gain a yellow and a green food, and then I would also get to draw a card. Players then, after bonuses, whoever has the fewest of the color bonuses will get to go first in the turn order track. Next up, every player will gain their income as shown on their cards that they have played out there. So I'll get 2 food and 2 oxygen. Next up, players are going to put their fish food out onto the matching cards here, and provided they can pay for all of the fish requirements as shown up here, they will earn the victory points as shown on the side of the card. So I would get 14 points in income. For each one that you cannot complete, you're going to lose 4 points. After feeding the fish, you're going to reset the action area and wipe the market, and then you'll begin the next round, and you'll continue until 4 rounds have been played. At the end of the 4 rounds, you're going to add endgame points to the points that you've earned during the game for leftover resources, completed rows and columns, leftover oxygen as points shown on the oxygen track, unspent tokens, lionfish, and your progress on the encyclopedia track, leftover food, and different collections of symbols that you've scored on your player board, and whoever has the most points is the winner of Aquaria.
Before we jump into how the game plays, there's a couple issues I have with the production of this. The 2 main ones being, I wish it was prettier. This is a game about an aquarium, about putting fish out in an aquarium. That should look cool.
Yeah, the game is visually a little bit at odds with itself. I like this cover, like this Norman Rockwell-esque cover, and then the actual game inside has very clashing art. The action board is like a technological nightmare. Like it looks like it has wires and pipes and going everywhere, and then it has just actual photographs of the fish.
Yeah, the fish could look a lot better. And my other thing is what you just alluded to is, wow, the symbology in this game. It is a lot.
It's a bit overwhelming at the beginning, yeah. It goes away because there's not actually that many symbols.
I fear that it's going to chase people away a little bit because it seems more complex than it is. That middle board, the board you're picking actions on, is actually pretty easy if you think about it. Mm-hmm. I feel like this looks almost like the prototype, and I'm like, okay, you could have said this action a different way. It just, there's a lot going on there. But once you play, you're like, oh, I'm definitely going to this spot. I'm definitely going here. And you know what everything does. It just doesn't, I think the first look, a lot of people are going to go, this is a really, really heavy game.
And it's not. And I think that it's quite good at doing what it does. 4 rounds, 4 actions each, so 16 actions in the game. Right. It doesn't feel like you have to eke out the most of every single action like some games. You have 7 turns the whole game. No, it's a little more giving than that. But it is, while not being overly complicated, there are certain things that I think are a little bit hard to fire off, like building up that filter engine, getting that to kind of feel worthwhile.
Right.
I think it's going to take some intentional and like focused playing while not being too difficult of a game.
Also, how you put the fish in your aquarium really matters. And at the beginning, you're just happy to get fish.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, it actually does matter because at the end you score, you're like, I would have, there's a lot going on in that regard. So this is the designer, Tomas Halik, is best known for SETI and probably for the rest of his career. He'll be shadowed by how popular his first or one of his first games was. I don't know that this should be compared to that in any way, shape. When I was looking online, a lot of people do.
Yes, it's kind of one of those things like, oh, Uwe Rosenberg, how does this compare to Agricola? It's not Agricola, right? This is an involved Euro game, but what I'll say is the publisher of this, Delicious Games, is Vladimir Suchy, right? Or he I believe, is the main designer and maybe the owner of the company, I think, right? this feels like one of his games.
I agree on that.
In a way that SETI doesn't feel like, or Galileo doesn't. This feels like it fits right into their catalog, and if you had told me that it was a Vladimir Suchy design, I would have said, yeah, of course.
My favorite part of this game is that central board mechanism. I just really love it. There's moving up tracks, and there's that whole filter system, which I wanted to love more than I did. I like it fine, but I was really hoping I could really blast on that, and it takes some effort. But I love that central board. I love the idea of this, which I've only seen in... Remember that Alien game?
SETI?
No, yeah, I was about to say, where you are aliens. It had something to do with like Aliens Andretti. But the idea of having an action board where you can go to any action you want, but you get a bonus if you move.
If you move adjacent,
If you move adjacent. I really love that because you're never squished. Like, I really need fish. Then go get them. You can do it.
You're going to sacrifice a small bonus. Is it worthwhile to go here first and then next turn go over there and get 2 bonuses along the way, but you're not getting fish for a while? I agree with you. I like that little bit of flexibility, and I think that goes a long way of once again making this not like a brain burnery hard game, but still one that you have to kind of think very intentionally on.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's an interesting mix. I think the game is more about the game rather than the end result. I was hoping, small disappointment at the end. I'm hoping to look at my fish and be like, that's my aquarium. And it doesn't matter if I win or lose, I can look at my cool fish. Not quite. I'm thinking more about the lionfish, which are super important in this game, like in real life. I never heard people like, you have an aquarium? No lionfish? Yeah. I just don't. Anyway.
How many victory points is your lionfish worth?
I wish the theme felt stronger, but that's a lot of the components, not the design. I think the design and the theme work well. The whole filter system, I like that concept. But yeah, but other than that, I think it's really solid. It's very entertaining, and I don't know if we would call this a heavy game. It's pretty close, but not quite. It's a sweet spot for me where I feel like there's lots of crunchy decisions without overwhelming me.
Yeah, and like I said, this because it is in Delicious Games' catalog, it comes with some of those shortcomings that a lot of their games have, right? Underwater Cities is their most popular game from this company. It's also one of the best-looking games. A lot of the other ones do not stand out.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And this kind of falls in that category. I was hoping that it would stand out a little bit better. So it has some of those shortcomings, but anyone who's a huge fan of these this company's games consistently, you have another game I think that you're going to be a huge fan of. For me, some of those little complaints, those little drawbacks do bring it just a pitch down for me. We good?
What would you give it?
My final score of this one's going to be a 7.5. I like it. I wish it was prettier. I wish that I could then just absorb the theme a little bit more and kind of have that, excitement. I don't mean to compare this at all to Wingspan. It's a very different game, but at the end of that, you get to look at your birds and say, those are my birds, right? It's kind of hard to feel that in this one, but I do love mechanically what's going on. I do really enjoy trying to line up those dials into the round color, and if you don't match it now, well, if I just leave this one alone on yellow, eventually yellow is going to come up, and I'm going to get that bonus then. That kind of push your luck of you can play out a bunch of fish, but can you feed them at the end of each round? I think there's a lot of good, solid decisions that might not inspire huge moments of excitement, but it's consistently fun and enjoyable throughout.
Yeah, I agree exactly. I'm a little higher on the 8, and that's because I like that central mechanism so much. Yeah. I really do. But like I said, these things that I just wish, again, like Chris said, when I'm done, I'm like, let me take a picture of my aquarium. I'm not going to in this game. But I still think it's a lot of fun to play. I think the divergent paths, there's a lot of them. You get to do a lot, so that feels good. At the beginning, you're like, well, I get any fish out. You'll get a chunk of fish out. That's good. You get to go to a lot of different spots. A chunk of fish. Halibut. So it's a neat idea. There's lots of moving pieces and stuff. And I think, again, if you like their other games, if you like Underwater Cities or Praga or games like that.
Messina,
you'll probably enjoy this one also. So that's Aquaria. Check it out. I'm Tom Vasel.
And I'm Chris Yi.
And we want to say thank you to some of our GameFound backers. We want to say thank you to Daniel McKeon, Debbie Alden, the Tejas family, Jesse, Destiny, and Everly, and Bruce Schwerin. Thank you very much, guys, for supporting us, and thank you all for watching.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.